What's up, everybody? I'm Rondy and I'm being joined here today by
Scotty Kill Joy,
Eric Gomez,
and we are State of Gaming. We're that group of people who talk about things that hopefully you care about. Today we're actually going to talk about the legitimacy of gaming. What is a gamer? What does it mean to be a gamer? And yeah, it means being Scotty Kill Joy.
damn right.
And that. So here we go. I just personally think, and I'm pretty passionate about this, so I'm going to go off the rails. I apologize in advance.
We were on rails?
Yeah, we were on rails. Lionel Train, choo-choo, Thomas the Tank Engine, plug. But,
whatever, man.
Like, people who are outside of the gaming, not industry, but just like people who aren't gamers, who look from the outside looking in at, oh, you play video games, they assume you're that stereotypical, like,
Call of Duty player,
you're a bro gamer, or you're a nerd, or you're the guy who's like 30 years old and lives in his parents' basement and, like, is eating Cheetos or Doritos, playing World of Warcraft or whatever.
Cheetos are good.
Cheetos are delicious, but product placement, please send us Cheetos.
I'm so hungry.
But there's this negative, stigma that's attached to gamers, and I mean, it's attached to the industry, and it doesn't make sense to me in 2014, where it's one of the most lucrative, like, pieces of entertainment ever. Like, there's so many millions of dollars, billions of dollars being pumped into gaming projects. There's companies. Like, what more does the gaming industry need to do to prove its legitimacy? Are people just never going to appreciate or respect gaming if they're not gamers?
T-shirt guns.
T-shirt guns.
Free candy.
Free candy at the
sex toys. Shaped like game controllers.
Like Buster Swords, blades intact.
You mean Wiimotes?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
Wiimotes.
Wiimotes. I mean, like, what are your opinions on this? Because I'm really tired of two different things. I'm tired of the gaming industry not having faith in itself and constantly trying to chase after being like movies or like books and being more cinematic and saying, hey, we're grown-ups, like, respect our medium. Mm-hmm. But I'm also tired of people outside of the medium saying, oh, you sit at home and play Mario? I'm supposed to take you seriously because you're racking up high scores? Like, what's going on there?
I mean, I think most people, when they find out that I play video games, they don't really know much about, so it's like, oh, you just play video games. So it's like, I just don't think a lot of people are really informed on the medium itself. It's like, when they think of, like, let's say video games that turn to movies, they think of Resident Evil when they think that's awesome, and then, like, no, it's like shit compared to the actual storyline.
Yeah.
Although 6 was a piece of shit also, by the way.
Oh, they did make a Resident Evil 6. It's awful.
I'm surprised you even remembered it.
Yeah, I know.
But all the characters.
RE does not stand for remember, definitely.
I thought that game was called Biohazard.
Biohazard 6.
But I think gaming right now is in a better shape than it was, like, maybe in the 90s, where it's being recognized now. However, it's, that stigma where it's more so mixed and, like, just people not understanding it completely. It's just more accepted at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you can read all the books you want. You can, listen to music all day long. You tell somebody, oh, I'm listening to music, or oh, I'm reading this book. But if you're playing this game, it's like, oh, you're wasting your time. Like, why don't you go out and do something? Why don't you go live? Why don't you be more productive? Like,
yo, I am doing something.
Why is this, like, so taboo? It's not okay to...
I feel that playing video games is far more stimulating than actually watching, like, maybe a TV show, for example. It's like you're more engaged into that world where it's far more useful to you than just sitting down and watching a TV show or watching a YouTube video.
I mean, I'm definitely, like, a strong proponent of video games, obviously, and, like, the agency. Like, if you sit there and you watch a movie, you're just taking in whatever's on the screen. You're playing a video game. That's a more visceral experience. That's you, exercising critical thinking skills.
Exactly.
That's you problem solving. That's you, platforming. There's people who learn to, read or improve their reading playing things like Pokemon or Final Fantasy or something. There's people who improve their critical thinking skills or, like, practical problem solving skills.
Actually, it's been proved.
Playing things like Ghost Recon or Call of Duty, like hand-eye coordination. There's so many different things that benefit you because it's not this passive experience where you're just watching what's on the screen or reading the words on a page. There's elements of literacy, there's elements of engagement, there's so many different things involved, yet you play video games, you're wasting your time, go do something with your life. I just don't feel it. What about you?
I hear all the time about how, like, oh, you're watching TV and playing video games, you're killing your brain cells, you're not doing anything productive and all that stuff. And TV, so much I can understand. You're sitting in front of a TV, you're not really doing anything, you're just watching something on the screen. Video games, though, you're engaging your mind. You're actually becoming a part of this world. It's funny because they say things like when you're in school and stuff, like when you're in like maybe high school or college, you're saying, why am I learning this stuff that I'm never going to use again, like trigonometry and earth science and things of that nature. In video games, you use trigonometry, you use science, like you're using stuff that you learned in school that you're supposed to apply to real life. You're using it in video games. It's helping you, like you said, improve your problem solving skills. Your like math. I don't know how many times I've been playing a game and like let's say I was playing Persona 3 the other day, and I'm sitting there like how many more experience points do I need before I get to the next level? Okay, well this monster gives me this amount of experience points. So if I fight this monster this amount of times, this number of experience points times this number is going to give me this amount of experience points. So this is how many monsters I have to kill before I get to this level.
Yeah,
like I'm using fucking math every 5 seconds that I play an RPG. I'm using math.
Yeah.
Like I'm using like complicated math, not just like addition, subtraction. I'm using like trig, calculus. Like I'm doing these elaborate equations in my head just to figure out when am I going to get from level 51 to 52. Like it's necessary to play these games. So no one can sit there and tell you playing a game is useless. You're not doing anything with your time. I'm doing a shit ton with my time. I'm on borderline accountant status playing a game while
diversify your bonds.
Exactly. You're sitting in an office on a computer typing. Yeah, you really upping your keyboarding skills. Me, I'm using calculus, science, English, linguistics, all of this stuff that you learn in school that you're supposed to use in real life. I'm using in video games, and it's helping me like further my proficiency in these skills.
And there's also the art aspect. I mean, just some people are inspired in playing video games to get into creating them, or to get into making music or doing 3D graphic work. A lot of different design and stuff.
Yeah.
So it really is a culmination of all of these different things. It has the literary prowess of a book. It has the visual, impressiveness, if that's a word. Don't Merriam-Webster me. Of like a movie, and then it has the unique thing that only games have, that agency of you being in control of what happens on the screen there. So it's in many ways like the ultimate form of entertainment. But I guess it's the stigma of the 8-bit era and just Mario and Pitfall and Asteroids and Joust, where that wasn't necessarily true, where video games hadn't matured, but the people who didn't play them didn't see the maturation of the industry, and just hear you say something, and they've already made up in their mind what that means. When you say video game, they think Candy Crush or Angry Birds or Pitfall or Galaga. They don't know about Mass Effect.
Candy Crush is not a video game.
Is it though? They don't know about Mass Effect. They don't know about The Last of Us. They haven't played these games. These really seminal, important, Hannah Montana the movie, the game. These really big, important games of our time. Hannah Montana the movie, the game is this generation's Citizen Kane. And like,
that was such a claim right there. Wow.
Yes. And I just think,
yes, we can.
Yes, we can, and we did in about 4 hours. And I think that, thank you, it needs the recognition it deserves.
I mean, the thing is, like the other thing when people look at video games, it's like it's going to be more common things like the blockbuster hits that really don't add anything to video games right now. Call of Duty, unfortunately, is that one victim. Lots of sports games that come out on systems.
Because they're all the same.
And then exactly.
Yeah.
And then, like, usually it's like RPGs and World of Warcraft that gets put in a negative light because those certain extremes are seen on TV.
Yeah.
Like that 400-pound kid that just...
Yeah, World of Warcraft is... There's a lot of negativity behind playing World of Warcraft. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, everyone thinks you're that fat kid sitting at the computer screen with the headset, eating snacks and stuff, not having a job, just a shut-in. That's what they see when they see World of Warcraft. When in actuality, it's nothing like that.
In fact, I'm visually seeing that. I've seen like supermodel chicks playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but even, all that aside, though, it's like people say, oh, you're being antisocial because you're staying and playing video games when the gaming community is so large, and especially in MMO like World of Warcraft, all these conventions all over the country where people are finding like-minded individuals, people who enjoy the same game they do. Games like, League of Legends, or games like, Dota and World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, like, you get to go out and really you are cultivating this social circle, even if it's people who are online, but you're being very sociable.
You're being very social.
And, there's so many different factors, there's so many different things in play that people are totally taking, they're just disregarding completely. And about his Candy Crush thing, I mean, people say, "Oh, I'm not a gamer," because it's a stigma. But if you're sitting on your iPad and you're playing Candy Crush or Fruit Ninja, or you're, on the train doing Words with Friends or something, like that's a digital game with agency, and
That makes sense. I
you're
get it
actually playing games. And I think more people are gamers than who think are gamers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if you don't think you're a gamer, I don't know if you understand that you are. And video games are so ubiquitous now. They're everywhere. They're on our phones, they're on our tablets, on our computers, they're on our home consoles, they're the Game Boy. Like,
we're all gamers.
We're all gamers.
We're all gamers.
And, the sooner
gaming is life.
You can separate the word gaming or gamer from this negative stigma that you've made up in your head, like...
But that's the thing, though, with that negative stigma, I don't really view mobile gaming as actual games itself. I just couldn't, because it doesn't really add anything to the experience of, like if you compare it to like a Mario game or maybe a Pokemon game. It's just totally different. It's like I just can't recognize it as a form of gaming. Much like how Roger Ebert couldn't recognize gaming as art.
That's like...
I think you can kind of consider it a subcategory.
Yeah, but if we put it
no,
into the
not
same...
even.
Let's, then let's not call it
adamant.
gaming and make it about like
Pressure.
books. Let's say this was books you were talking about, and you said, well, Catcher in the Rye is a book. How to Feed a Mouse a Cookie, or Would You Give a Mouse a Cookie, or whatever, isn't a book.
Wait, hold up.
Because it's not on the same level.
Hold up. The Catcher in the Rye is a
J.D.
book.
Salinger, yes,
Yeah.
and it's a book. But I mean, like, where's the line? If Fruit Ninja and Tetris aren't games, or if Angry Birds isn't a game but Last of Us is, then can you say that Catcher in the Rye is a book, but Thomas the Tank Engine Goes to Hollywood, not a real book, is
Or The Hungry Caterpillar.
Why is it going to
not a
Hollywood?
book?
Goodnight Moon's not a book because it's not
Why is it
Green
going
Eggs
to
and Ham,
Hollywood?
not a book.
But I'm
Pissing off some Dr. Seuss fans.
That's really just like
I think it's just me. I just think I'm quite adamant on.
I think gamers,
I
for
think it
all
is
their
just you.
for all of their wanting to be accepted, they're some of the most exclusionary people, to the point that even within the gaming industry, we like to compartmentalize people and say, oh, you're an Xbot, you're a Sony fanboy,
That's true.
you're a little kid, you play Nintendo, and we want acceptance, but we haven't even gotten all of our stuff together.
Jarrell.
It's like, oh, and all those people who are embracing video games and finally found their entry point, even if it was Angry Birds, Star Wars, or like Marvel superheroes
That's
or
the
something,
thing.
for them to start playing games and us be like, oh, you guys aren't gamers. Like, for a group of people, gamers, who were so marginalized and outcast, that for other people to come in and for us to be like, no, you can't hang out with us. We're doing the same thing that non-gamers
that's
have been
true.
doing to us for years.
However, you see companies trying hard to actually make a game. That's the thing. They're trying to make it a category when I just can't see it as a category.
It almost feels like the outcasts finally becoming the cool kids, but
and
then
making everybody else the outcast.
and making everybody
Yeah.
else the outcasts.
That's kind of how it is, because like people who are gamers, people who are not gamers, like non-gamers, look at us and they're just like, oh, you guys are this, you guys are that, and there's like all this negativity, and then we come together and finally gaming becomes this big thing, and now we're to everyone else like, oh, you guys are this and you guys are that, and we're being just as negative as they were against us. So it's kind of like we've become the so-called assholes. Or just me. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's like we can't get mad at them for doing what they do to us when we're doing it to each other.
We were
You know what I'm
upset
saying?
about being excluded,
We're
but now we're
cannibalizing.
very
Now we're
exclusive.
excluding everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
we're
saying?
excluding people within our own rank, and we're also
We
excluding people
are
who don't get us.
The assholes.
Well, then
Yeah,
I
we are
am
the
the supreme asshole in this group. Then.
You're the illustrious asshole with the amazing Manbeline hair.
Oh, dude, Manbeline. Maybe it's Manbeline.
Maybe it's Manbeline.
Magnanimous
It's not me.
masculinity.
It's not me anymore.
Well, the only way we're going to get some clarity on this is by hearing from the hearing from the fine folks at home. You can definitely chime in with your responses. I'd love to hear them. Leave it in the comments section, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Facebook.com/astateofgaming, YouTube.com/astateofgaming. We're also on Twitter @astateofgaming. You can follow us everywhere because we need it. Definitely tell us what you think about this. We appreciate you guys watching. I've been Rondy Wooten.
Scotty Kill Joy.
Eric Gomez.
The illustrious Eric Gomez.
Keep being an asshole. Take care, everybody.
Hey, hold on!